Hello and welcome to another episode of It Ain't Easy Being Human. Today I have as my special guest, Santina Daniels. How you doing, Santina? Or
I'm
Tina?
doing good.
Good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
Well, I am a mother of an autistic 26-year-old. I'm a wife of 30 years, and I'm also a retired juvenile probation officer of 26 and a half years.
Wow, that's a long time to be in one job. A lot of people can't do that.
I know.
So 26 years as a juvenile probation officer, and that amount of time in dealing with all types of children and their behavior problems, along with their parents. Have you found that some of the things that you've learned have been helpful in raising an autistic child?
Yes. With that, I've learned just looking at other parents and how they deal with their child that either has mental health issues or some type of disability, what to do and what not to do. One of the things would be, and my recommendation would be, pick your battles, because everything is not going to be serious. You have to look at, okay, is this a battle worth a meltdown, or is this something where you can kind of compromise?
When first learning of your son being autistic, how did that hit you? How did that strike you?
Well, getting that diagnosis is kind of like, okay, what do we do and what resources are available? Because it's all overwhelming. And then you look at the plans that you had for your child, you no longer, those plans are no longer going to be in place. So now you have to think of, okay, what does the future look like for my child, and what do I need to do? First thing for us is we didn't go into panic mode. It's like, okay, we got this diagnosis. Let's figure out what resources are available and let's do what we have to do. I find that most parents don't go into that mode. Most parents go into this panic like, oh my God, my child has been diagnosed with autism. What am I going to do? I have no clue. There's no time to panic.
It can be kind of scary, yeah.
Yeah, because it's either you're going to fight and you're going to say, okay, I need to find out what resources are available, what type of help I can get for my child, because it's only going to better him. Or do I sit and wallow in self-pity and it's like, well, I don't know what to do. I just give up, because in that moment, it's not a time to give up. It's a time to say, okay, we got this diagnosis and
that would be the trap.
Figure out what we need to do.
Yeah, exactly. To get into that would be a trap for sure. Looking at this happening and not seeing a clear path forward right at first.
Right. And I also have to say, back then when we got his diagnosis, there weren't a whole lot of resources out there at the time. Now, there are more resources, I think, today for children with autism than it was when Jay was younger. A lot of stuff was based on the type of insurance that you had. Most insurances back then didn't cover half of the therapies that you needed. So we had to rely on the school system with the occupational therapy, speech therapy, and all of that, because again, insurance didn't cover. The primary care doctor may say, okay, I recommend that they go to speech therapy 3 or 4 days a week. That's fine and dandy. But when you take them to speech therapy 3 or 4 times a week, you have to pay a copay each time you go. And
It
that
ain't
can
easy being
no,
it ain't easy being human, is it?
no, and it gets costly. So it's like, okay, so this is what I'm gonna have to do is you take the resources that the school offers.
So you must have accumulated quite a toolbox of little tricks and tips that
Oh yeah.
have as a result of your experience as a long-time juvenile probation officer. And if you were stuck at any point, it sounds like you weren't stuck very long, and you know how to maneuver your way through that situation to navigate it, where you were able to find out some things and collect some resources and become pretty confident in what you were doing in your parenting.
Yeah, because a lot of even my coworkers, then we would get some kids. You know, maybe I may had maybe 2 or 3 kids on my caseload that were special needs, but I knew how to deal with that. So I had one kid that he wasn't aggressive. He wasn't an aggressive kid, but he talked aggressively with his tone. Mm-hmm. So, but I knew how to talk to him, and we had an understanding. At the end of the day, they're human and they have feelings. So you have to take that into consideration. And I always wanted to treat someone else's child the way that I treat, my child. Mm-hmm. And I know if I try to treat my child with respect, I'm going to treat somebody else's child with respect. But they're also going to learn that you have to respect me as well.
So when you first started working with this and some of the fears that you had about what would be your next move, where do you go from here, how did you overcome those fears?
A lot of prayer and just having a good support system with my husband Michael, because he would always tell me, it could always be worse. Just having to come to terms that this is the cards that I was dealt, mm-hmm. and we just have to do the best that we can as parents and give him, the best quality of life, that we can.
Mm-hmm. So, for parents who are raising autistic children, or even parents who are dealing with children who have some behavior problems, what could you leave them with about how, when they feel stuck, how can they navigate these situations and get through it to be able to free themselves to improve the quality of their lives?
Try to prepare them as much as you can if there's going to be a change, because I think that helps out a lot, and it helps with the anxiety. Because a lot of these kids do have a lot of anxiety because they don't know what to expect. Their safety net is home.
You bring up a really good point, because sometimes expectations do drive us, and this is one of the things that we tell ourselves about the future, is that we're expecting the future to be a certain way, and when it doesn't, there's somewhat of a panic, some more than others, but it's a signal really that you really just don't have any control. Right. And it's that feeling of not being in control of the situation that's sometimes often hard to overcome.
That's me.
It seems that you've been able to do that. What could you say to other parents about that feeling, that panic when you think that you don't have control?
I don't know, because I still have that panic. So I can't answer that question, because I still have that panic a lot of times. I hate not being in control. And
but that's why it ain't easy being human.
yeah, because it's like I don't have the answer for that one, because I hate not having control, and it's hard because you don't know what the future holds. You have no control over that, and I have to tell myself, okay, if you could foresee the future, what would you do? It's like that's the reason why God didn't give you that ability to be able to look into the future and say, okay, 5 years from now, this is what's going to happen. Let me just go in here and change this around, because you're going to mess it up.
Mm-hmm. We do come across these situations where we don't have control. But the hardest thing about that is accepting that we don't have control.
Right.
And once we can accept that, then other choices, other options begin to open up to us when we can live in the present and not worry about what's going to happen in the future. Because the present is the only place we can do something
right.
at this moment.
Right.
Fearing what's going to happen is really not going to change anything. It's just a fear. But that's
what Michael tells me all the time. He's like, it's not going to change anything. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Exactly. And it's like, well, I don't want you to say it like that. It's like, well, how else do you want me to say it? I mean, it's the truth. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen.
Right.
So you can't worry yourself about that.
Exactly. And sometimes it means just giving up expectations and taking everything step by step and dealing with it as things come up. Especially with someone with your background and skills, I can't imagine that there's not much that can come up that you can't deal with.
I know it is like I've we dealt with so much and got through some rough times. So it's kind of like we're built now to know, okay, well, if this comes up, you just deal with it as it comes, just like you've always done. You just deal with it to the best of your ability. So being in that field for, like I said, for 26 and a half years, that's helped me a lot. That's taught me too what other resources are out there that I can get for my child. So
what would you want people to take away from our conversation here today?
For one, be the best you that you can be. Always, it's okay to step away. It's okay if you get frustrated to take a time out. It's okay to just step away, regroup, and then come back, because you're not going to help your child if you're frustrated, because he sees that you're frustrated, and then it just makes him more frustrated.
That's a great piece of advice. That sometimes we react instead of really thinking through what's really going on. Allow our emotions to get in the way. And if you're reacting too, how can you tell who's driving things? Eh?
Right.
So taking a deep breath, calming down, coming back to center, and being yourself rather than being your emotions can always make a situation go better. So that's a great piece of advice. Eh?
Right.
Right. So we're about out of time, and I really appreciate the conversation. Shared a lot of good things. I think it's going to be really helpful to people, especially with parents and those who might have children with special needs. So really good information. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So you have a great afternoon, and thank you so much.
Okay, you too.
All right.